Episode 5 of Ahsoka has done the unimaginable. Of course, I expected this episode to be great, but nothing could quite prepare me for what actually happens in this incredible 40 to 50 minutes of television. So with that being said, I want to extend a huge thank you to not only you guys for watching this video, but to Dave Filoni and Star Wars for making an episode of Ahsoka that I will never forget. We're going to break down the episode as per usual, and then I'm going to give my thoughts and theories on what might happen next. So buckle in, hit that subscribe button, and join us on the road to 1,000 subs. We are on our way. Now, much to my surprise, this episode doesn't actually start off with where we left off with Anakin and Ahsoka in the World Between Worlds. We actually pick up with Hera at the site where Ahsoka fell into the water and where Sabine was taken with Baylan and Shin to the new galaxy. They were teasing us so much the whole time with this. I love seeing Hera and I love seeing Jason and I love all of the other characters, but when you tease us so much with the last episode and then you drag this out, it just makes you want to just fast forward through it all. I did enjoy this, but I was so eager to find out what the whole deal was with Anakin and Ahsoka. Now, luckily, after the title card, we finally catch back up with Anakin and Ahsoka, and as soon as he popped up on screen again, I was just sort of shell-shocked. I could not believe we were getting this in live action, even though I saw it last week. Ahsoka tells Anakin, "You look the same," and Anakin, of course, replies with, "You look old." Hayden Christensen really pulls off the mix between Matt Lanter's Anakin from the Clone Wars and his Anakin from Revenge of the Sith and Attack of the Clones. And at the same time, he brings more maturity and a sort of wise Yoda-ish style to this role, and he's still very mysterious. Now, yes, this is 100% Anakin Skywalker. This is not the son, at least not that we know of. This is the Chosen One Anakin. Anakin asks Ahsoka if she remembers her fight that she just lost, and she does. Anakin says this is a good sign because she could still fight and still survive this. So I guess the World Between Worlds here is sort of a limbo state, a place between life and death, or maybe even the afterlife itself. Anakin tells her it's time to finish her training, and then he ignites his lightsaber. Anakin tells her that she has to fight or else she will die, and Ahsoka says, "I will not fight you." Anakin responds by saying, "I've heard that before," and of course this references Return of the Jedi, where Luke, his son, tells him that he will not fight him. And this whole theme of fighting to live is this final lesson that Ahsoka has to learn from her old master, and they play it off beautifully through many different scenes that we're going to get into heavily. I also have to say Anakin looked fantastic here. I really think they nailed the de-aging. It's not too much, it's just a little bit of a touch-up, and the costume throughout the entire episode and the multiple costumes are all just fantastic. They really knocked it out of the park. Now, right after this, we transfer back to Hera, Carson Teva, and Jason with Chopper, but I love these characters again, but I was just wanting to get back to Anakin and Ahsoka. Carson Teva does name drop Senator Organa, which of course is Princess Leia, and we see that Jason sort of feels something off. Now, Jason's father, Kanan Jarrus, was a former Jedi. That being said, Jason 100% has the Force, and he feels Ahsoka's presence through the water and through the waves. We have a really awesome moment between Hera and Jason where Jason tells his mom to feel out to the Force, to feel out and listen for these lightsaber clashing sounds, to hear, to call out to Ahsoka, to find her. I really did like this moment, and I think the music with it was such a beautiful touch and felt so cinematic. I'm very excited to see Jason's future as a Jedi, and I think them casting an actor at this age who could potentially grow into an adult role as a Jedi is a very smart move, and I really want to see more of Jason. Now, Hera definitely does hear the lightsaber clashes that Jason is mentioning, and while she doesn't have the Force, I don't think this really breaks anything because, as we've learned in the past couple episodes, the Force resides in all of us. We finally cut back to Anakin and Ahsoka dueling, and Anakin tells her that there is still much to learn. He cuts the World Between Worlds at her feet, and she falls. She falls through a bunch of clouds, and when she finally wakes up and the vision clears, this is not the Ahsoka we had just seen. This is a flashback to the Clone Wars. I figured we would get a flashback with Anakin and Ahsoka in the Clone Wars, but I never thought it would be to this degree and to this sort of emotional standpoint where I was actually tearing up watching this. We see General Anakin Skywalker leading the 501st Legion. Just seeing Anakin Skywalker in his general armor and him screaming forward for all the troops was just so emotional. And again, the music playing in the back here is a huge mix of all the Clone Wars tracks that we've come to learn over the years. This battle is one of the first ones that Anakin and Ahsoka went into together. This appears to be Ryloth. Watching this scene was just so surreal, and I've had to watch it multiple times just to soak it all in, because the first time I was watching it, I just could not believe my eyes. I kept telling myself, this is not real, I can't believe what I'm watching. We finally get the Clone Wars in live action, and once the dust settles, we get to the thematic element of this flashback, and that's Ahsoka dealing with her actions having consequences for others. She led all of these clones into battle, and so many of them died. She's really struggling with this, and we see Anakin talking not only to a Twi'lek from Ryloth, but also Captain Rex. And guess what? This isn't the only time we see him this episode. Anakin sees Ahsoka struggling and really has a sort of heart-to-heart moment with her, telling her, look, you can't give up the fight. You have to keep fighting. If you don't fight, you die. Again, tying to these elements that we've been sort of presented with throughout the season so far, Ahsoka has been sort of a very stoic and quiet, sort of reserved and maybe even depressed character. She lost Ezra. She's lost everybody she's ever loved. She's living, but is she really alive? Anakin tells her that she must adjust to the times. You must be a warrior. You have to keep fighting, because if you don't fight, you will die, and not only will you physically die, but you will die mentally, which Ahsoka seems to sort of have done over the past couple years with the loss of Ezra, with sort of failing on Sabine. Now, as Ahsoka watches Anakin charge back into battle, we see very brief glimpses of his turn to Darth Vader. This is the thing that Ahsoka cannot let go of. She feels so responsible for Anakin's turn to the dark side, and this vision, this look into the past, keeps reminding her that her master, this man, turns into one of the greatest evils the galaxy had ever seen, and she feels responsible. Again, we cut back to Huyang, Hera, and Carson Teva. Not really much happens here. They do have some good dialogue moments, but then we get even more flashbacks. Only this time we get to see season 7 of the Clone Wars in live action with the Siege of Mandalore. Not only do we see Ahsoka with her 2 blue lightsabers given to her by Anakin Skywalker, but we also see Captain Rex, Mandalorians, and plenty other awesome Easter eggs. If you go back and watch it, I'm sure you'll notice so many different things from the animated show. Now, Anakin does pop up here, but he's not physically here. Remember, this isn't time travel. This is a trip down memory lane. He says, I don't remember this battle, and that's because Ahsoka had already left him at this time when she briefly came back in season 7 of the Clone Wars to go to Mandalore to fight Darth Maul. Her and Anakin had to split up, and at this moment in time, he's on his way to the Invisible Hand to save Palpatine from Count Dooku and General Grievous. So of course, Anakin doesn't remember this. Anakin talks to Ahsoka here about how he trained her well, how she is a warrior now, and he's sort of talking about more power side. The first flashback was definitely the light-sided Anakin Skywalker, and this one sort of turns to the dark side with the events that we're about to see. He talks about legacy and what it means to pass things down from master to master, and Ahsoka brings up the fact that, well, he turns into Darth Vader. Anakin again presents the challenge to her. Are you going to fight to live, or are you going to die? He ignites a red lightsaber, the Darth Vader lightsaber, and when he turns around, he has these Sith yellow eyes. This is the ultimate Darth Vader that we never got to see. Imagine if Darth Vader never got injured by Obi-Wan on Mustafar. Imagine the power. This is who we see here, and this is who Ahsoka so fears to even look at or think about. Anakin kicks her back into the world between worlds, where we see the current version of Ahsoka duel with Darth Vader. Anakin is giving her an ultimatum here. Are you going to fight to live? Do you have things to fight for, or are you just surviving? Ahsoka attempts to destroy Darth Vader, but he's too powerful, and the only thing that actually ends up stopping him is her saying that she chooses to live. I love this so much because we have Anakin, who embodies both the light side and the dark side with the perfect balance, giving both sides to Ahsoka. And actually, at the end of this duel, we see Ahsoka tap into her dark side abilities a little bit, and she gets the dark yellow eyes. It was so crazy seeing this, just knowing that she is so angry at herself and she has to let go of her past, let go of the mistakes she made. Even Anakin tells her in the first flashback, part of growing, part of being a leader and being stronger and living is making mistakes. And this is the final lesson that Anakin teaches her in this episode. Anakin turns back to the light side and says there may be hope for you yet, and disappears. I believe this is a line that Anakin says to Ahsoka very early on in their first heart-to-heart in the Clone Wars, and it was a great bookend for this moment, but man, I just wanted to see more of this. I think I speak for everybody when I say I want a live-action Clone Wars movie right now. Movie, show, a couple episodes episodes, whatever it is, give it to me because I need more of this. Ahsoka is rescued by the New Republic X-Wings, and we finally get to see Ahsoka change her character. Again, in earlier episodes, we've seen Ahsoka sort of be the stoic, quiet, regretful, sort of depressed character. But after this experience, after getting closure with her master in a sort of dreamlike state, which we don't really even know what it was, Ahsoka as a character has developed into someone new. And not really someone new, but the person she used to be. She dons the white cloak that we actually saw at the end of Rebels, and I don't know if they're retconning this situation. We're gonna have to wait and see to the later episodes. I don't mind it if they do retcon it because I like this take. And the poncho just looks so cool. Ahsoka has definitely completely changed. I like this headdress a lot more, and we finally see her smile and crack a laugh. She finds out that Sabine went with Shin and Baylan to the new galaxy, and she knows that she has to go to save not only her, but also Ezra. Meanwhile, the New Republic is on their way because they didn't authorize this mission for Hera to go, so they're on their way to try and stop them. And throughout this episode, I realized the New Republic is just a wimpy sort of government that no one really even cares to listen to. I find it very interesting here that Mon Mothma, a character who wanted nothing to do with the Empire, wanted to get rid of the Empire and rebel, is now sort of becoming the thing that she destroyed. Now, not to that level, of course, but this is the first step to sort of being that controlling dictatorship sort of government. Ahsoka says bye to Hera, and she travels to the brand new galaxy to find Ezra and Thrawn, and of course Sabine, Shin, and Baylan. There's some incredible visuals here, and the shots composition and the cinematography in this episode alone is so notable. The shots of Ahsoka standing with her hand out speaking to the Purgils through the Force. It was just beautiful, and you can tell that her character has gone through something life-changing. When traveling into the Purgil to travel throughout hyperspace, Ahsoka tells Huyang, "I have no idea if this is gonna work. We're gonna see." And I loved this line and the delivery of this line so much because it filled me with a sense of wonder. We have no idea what's gonna happen next. We are in for a ride, I'm sure. We don't even have one episode left. We don't have 2 episodes left. We've got 3 more episodes. And with this reformed Ahsoka, I have a feeling that these are going to be incredible. After they jet off into hyperspace, the episode ends. This was by far my favorite episode of Ahsoka, and it might be my favorite episode of just anything Star Wars. The themes are there, the visuals are there, everything, the characters, oh my god, all of it just clicked for me. Are we going to see Anakin Skywalker again? I don't know. I would love to see more Anakin and maybe him popping up as a Force ghost. But honestly, I'm just so grateful that we got what we did. And Hayden Christensen just did such an incredible job as his character after almost 20 years of Revenge of the Sith. He's back and is the same character, but evolved. We don't know what the world between worlds really is, and it seems like it may be different from every person's point of view, and Ahsoka's might have just been sort of connecting her past and sort of overcoming her past difficulties. This sets the stage for an incredible last 3 episodes, and I just, as a Star Wars fan, am so grateful. I've watched this episode 3 times now, and I know I've glossed over so many different aspects of this episode. I'm going to be making multiple videos just about this one, so if you guys are interested in seeing those, hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 1,000 subs. Down in the comments, I need you guys to give me your thoughts on what you were feeling watching this episode. What did it feel like to watch the Clone Wars come to life? How do you think Ahsoka's transition from this quiet character to this newfound sort of Gandalf-esque character arc, what do you think about it? She's going from Ahsoka the Grey to Ahsoka the White. She's been reborn and sort of is her own original self. I just can't believe how much hope and wonder this last episode filled me up with. It makes me so happy to be a Star Wars fan, and I cannot wait for next week. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Click that like button, and I will see you all very soon.